I'm Nicole. It is so nice to see all of you. Happy Tuesday. It's a beautiful day. I'm here to share with you a live training around 5 simple steps for high achieving women to trust your gut at work and to ignore the naysayers. This is something I have had a lot of personal experience with, and so I'm really thrilled to be here to share with you some really simple tools to help yourself get into this place where you can actually trust your gut. Good morning, Rhonda. I'm going to tell you a little bit. This started with me, and this happened for me a lot personally in my own life when I was a reporter at the newspaper, where I was constantly questioning myself. Like, I questioned my writing skills. I questioned my news judgment. I questioned whether I was really doing a good job. I questioned myself whenever readers would call in the next day or email me about articles. And so there was this constant experience all the time where I was questioning myself, and I really didn't trust myself in general in my life, and I didn't really trust how I was doing in the workplace. And so really it took me many years to start to understand what it was and why I was constantly questioning myself. And I'm really here to help you start to see what are those steps that you can take for yourself to help yourself really get into a place where you are trusting yourself on a regular basis, and especially in the workplace where it can really be very, it can be overwhelming sometimes, the amount of information and input that we're getting from other people. And that's where clarity for yourself becomes so key. So I'm here to just really be straightforward and get right into it. So the first one is, how do you start to trust yourself at work? It actually starts the night before. It starts at home. It starts with your bedtime. It starts with, how are you actually going to bed in the evening, and how are you actually setting yourself up for the next day? If you're someone who tends to spend a lot of your time scrolling, I actually read this post today that's called, I have to really remember, like, dead scrolling. It's like there's this new name for when we're on like a Twitter scroll or a social media scroll in the evening, and it really starts to make you feel like so much anxiety about what's happening in the world. And so if you are doing those kinds of things for yourself at night, or you're also doing it with work, you're answering emails or texts or looking at things before you go to bed. And this is a place where your mind can really be out of sorts before you even go to sleep. You might have insomnia. You might actually have trouble sleeping. And this is the place to start to look first. How are you actually treating yourself before you go to bed? And how can you actually start to build in something that's actually going to help you go to bed clearly and cleanly so you can actually sleep? Something really simple. This could be as simple as taking a bath before you go to bed. It could be reading a few pages in a book. It could be doing a little bit of journaling. So that's really step one, is how are you going to bed? How are you actually treating yourself before you go to bed? The second step to trusting your gut at work is actually, now we're going to go into the morning. And there's 2 components of the morning that I'm here to talk about. So step 2 is really, what does your morning look like? And what kind of rituals do you have for yourself that actually allow you to have a really good day? And one of the first rituals I'm going to say for all of you to start to take on is actually a little bit of gratitude journaling. Like, literally, as soon as you wake up, you have a journal next to your bed, you pick it up and you write down 3 to 5 things that you are grateful for. I do this for myself every morning over coffee, and it makes such a big difference in terms of my mindset, that I'm actually in a place of, like, I can be grateful for my work. I can be grateful for family. I can be grateful for coffee. I often am grateful for, I have a lot of plants in my house. I write down that I'm grateful for my plants because they make me feel really good and they make me feel really happy. And so this is one of those things. It's like, oh, why do we need to do this? Well, a lot of the reason you're not trusting yourself at work is you're not in that place where you're even really looking bigger picture, right? You're constantly scrambling and looking for what everyone else is demanding of you and putting a lot of pressure on yourself. So instead, what if you instead brought in gratitude for yourself right away? The third step to trusting yourself at work is also related to your morning, and it is having some kind of activity and movement in your body before you go to work. It could actually be on the way to work. I mean, we're mostly all at home working these days, but when you were going into an office, it could be that walk to work. Some of you actually, now that you've cut out your commute, may actually be walking way less than you used to. And I would actually advocate for you for step 3 to actually build a walk in. Like, all that time you used to spend commuting, go for a walk. Take 15 minutes, take 30 minutes. If for whatever reason you have kids at home and homeschooling, a lot of things that are going on, Do like a 3-minute dance party. This is actually something you can do with your kids. You could also take them on the walk, but I'm just saying, right, there's different ways for us to start to bring movement into the morning. Why are we talking about all of this? Because if you're not physically and mentally clear, how are you going to even start to trust yourself? How are you going to even start to make decisions that feel really good for yourself throughout your workday if you're not starting your day clear? I am not talking about rolling out of bed 2 minutes before your first Zoom call, which I know that is the way some people are handling work right now. I'm talking about getting up early, doing your gratitude rituals, and then also getting some movement in for yourself. All right, 4th step for trusting your gut at work and ignoring the naysayers is, this is actually still part of the morning. What question can you ask yourself before you even open up your email? So what happens is, as soon as you open up your email, and if you do it without being really clear and intentional, everyone else's demands come first. What everyone needs from you, the questions that came in overnight, whatever it is that they really want from you is going to start to dictate your day. So how do you shift it out of you working for everyone else to working for yourself every single day in your job? Ask yourself this question before you start your day. What is it time for right now? What is it time for right now? And what this does is it tunes your brain up to actually bring in priorities and bring in the things that actually make the most difference to you right away, rather than what is it that everyone else needs from me right now? What is it time for right now? And then what I do is I listen for a number, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5. And then I write down those numbers, and then I write down my priorities. And from there, I actually have set a priority list that makes a difference for what I need to do with my workday that's not related to what everyone else might need from me. So it could be on that priority list, number 1 is a giant project you've been trying to chip away at. Number 1 might be, I really actually have a full schedule today of meetings, so my priority is actually just being really present in my meetings. Right? Do you see how this can actually start to make a difference for how you're actually approaching your day, and you're taking on the things that you have to do rather than letting everybody else determine for you how that day is supposed to go? Sometimes I ask myself that question, and I have clients booked 9 to 5, like all day. I don't really have a lot of space to spare, but by asking myself, what is it time for right now? Then I know, well, it's time for me to be with my clients, and I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to try to figure out anything else with my day. Do you see what I'm going with this here? Yeah. So if you're like, okay, I'm starting to get this, this is the way we start to do it. You can start to do it so that you get to be the person determining the course of your day. Nobody else is doing it for you. All right. I'm going to bring you to step 5. This is the final step for really, this is so simple for you trusting your gut at work and ignoring the naysayers, is how are you transitioning every day? This is the last step, and this is a really key one. So how are you transitioning between meetings? How are you transitioning to lunch? How are you transitioning throughout the day, especially if you're booked back to back? Set an intention. Literally every time you finish something, you take a breath, you pause, set an intention, right? So if you have meetings stacked all day, setting intention in between each meeting, setting intentions before you go to lunch, setting intentions when you come back for lunch. How can you actually be more intentional in the way that you're treating every single day? How can you be more intentional with how your work day itself is going? Instead of, again, letting everybody else, like people who want something from you, really driving how everything is going. Right, so these are the simple steps. That's it. There's not a whole lot of rocket science to this. And yet I see for so many women, the ones who are really, you're so smart, you have all these things you're trying to do, you're trying to cover all these bases. And what happens is that you are no longer the one who is in charge of your day. You are no longer the one who is actually moving the pace forward of what it is that's important to you when it comes to your work and to your career. So these are it, the 5 simple steps for you to start to trust your gut at work and to ignore the naysayers. Those of you who are online, please share below. I'd love to hear comments from you, insights that you're getting from hearing this and seeing how you can actually start to address your day, starting from step 1, bedtime, all the way through morning rituals, into the morning when you open your email, and then into transitions through the day. And then tell me what difference is starting to make in your own life. Comment below, share below. I'd love to hear from all of you. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you all again soon.